Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, the royals. Good morning. Good morning to the kings and queens of the land. I say good morning. Good morning to ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mngoni Mkhonto and this is the Royal Opinion in discussion this morning. The passing away of Pravin Gordhan. Pravin Gordhan dies at the age of 75. Those are the news that we woke up to this morning. But I want to discuss Pravin Gordhan's legacy. I pray that our great ancestors, they may give me the wisdom to be able to make sense to the world as I talk about the legacy of Pravin Gordhan. And I pray that his family may find it in their heart to understand how people are feeling about Pravin Gordhan. Um, I want to talk about Pravin Gordhan's legacy, about the things that he left in place for black people, the so-called liberation or liberated uh, people. I want to share this video before we get into details of what I want to discuss about this legacy, the legacy of Pravin Gordhan. Here it comes, ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens of the land. Let's start discussing. First, let's watch this video.
Of an extortion racket. The school was forced to close after allegations protection money was demanded.
How big is the scale and how many more businesses are likely to close down?
I'm in Mthatha, Eastern Cape, and in this video I'm going to try and cover, try to even explain the criminal surge of protection fee rackets and extortion sweeping this town in the Eastern Cape, as well as in other areas. I'm going to, as best as I can, try to explain this racket in a way that will be simple. And I want you to also understand that there will be a lot of second-hand account information from myself. I'm declaring this openly and upfront, as I don't have enough time to verify some of the facts, and also a lot of the people were and are just not willing to get onto camera to speak about this particular issue. Because, people are dropping dead. So for that reason, I will not name any names, but I will explain this story from an alternative angle as best as I can. To answer the questions of why this Mthatha extortion ring and protection fee racket is thriving, the answer is pretty simple. There's a Mthatha mafia enterprise that operates in this rural town and former Transkei homeland. They've been doing so for years. Bayaziwa. People know about it, but they can't do much because they're intertwined with law enforcement senior officials in the province and in this district municipality. The taxi industry is also involved, former criminals, and now recently tribal authorities. The common criminals doing the grunt work of extorting people do so because there is an authoritative cover for them to do this. They just know that the law is not going to do anything. In Mthatha and in other regions in the province, like let's say for instance in Gqeberha, a troubling trend of extortion through protection fees is significantly affecting local businesses and vulnerable individuals. And it's been in the news. I'm sure you've seen it. Now, this form of extortion, in which businesses, particularly those owned by foreigners, but fast spreading to South African owned businesses. These businesses are coerced into paying for dubious protection services. Basically, pay us to protect your business from us. These criminal acts have led to some businesses even shutting down due to alleged intimidation and threats from criminal syndicates. But now just imagine being a business owner in this town, in Umtata, working hard every single day to keep your doors open. But every single month, you're faced with a terrifying reality, a demand for protection fees. We're not talking about a small amount here, guys. Some of these fees are rumored to be as high as 100,000 Rand per month for some businesses and up to 50% for smaller businesses. Even Omama selling amakwenya are not immune from this. It happens everywhere. Now, other individuals and business owners, including property owners, are said to have been forced to pay 20,000 Rand for small businesses, 50,000 Rand for medium-sized businesses, and some even go as high as 200,000 Rand for bigger businesses. One of the petrol stations here in Umtata was even asked to pay 350,000 Rand per month. Just crazy. It's ludicrous. Even worse, school teachers and other professionals who are renting properties in Umtata have allegedly been forced to pay between 500 Rand and 1,000 Rand a month for protection and extra rent for those who are even staying in government-owned properties. People are trying to go about their lives and are under immense pressure right here in this town. And it's these criminals. Because honestly, how do you cope with that as a business? How do you justify pouring that much money into the hands of criminals just to keep your business open and your life safe? It's not just a few businesses either. By data taken from various sources around the town, nearly 40% of Umtata's businesses, around 600 plus in total, are forced into this brutal cycle. The spaza shop just down the road from our house, they had a sticker on their door saying that a particular grouping of people are offering protection to them. It's insanity. All of this is just brutal. The local economy is bleeding, with up to a potential of 50 million Rand being siphoned off by these criminals every single month. That's
Ladies and gentlemen, as I'm sharing, that is the legacy of Pravin Gordhan. Pravin Gordhan, we know him. He's been involved in the even in the drafting of the new constitution. He's been involved in the anti-apartheid movement in the 70s and the 80s. But his involvement, he was just an agent of the white capital. Pravin Gordhan is an agent of the white capital who's been deployed on the anti-apartheid movement, so that when the anti-apartheid movement succeed, um, the the white capital would have no problem, because they will have their own people planted in the in government, or in the ANC, or in the liberation movement, as we say. So I want to talk about his legacy in a simple way, not even try to simplify his legacy, the legacy of Pravin Gordhan. Pravin Gordhan has contributed in drafting of the Constitution of South Africa. The Constitution of South Africa, which is anti-black, which is against black people. The Constitution of South Africa, which is advocating for slaves, basically. The Constitution of South Africa, which promote landlessness for black people. Pravin Gordhan was a part of the committee which was involved in drafting of the Constitution. Pravin Gordhan, uh, in recent years, is the guy who sold South African Airways for 51 rands to his capital, to his friends. to the white people. That's what Pravin Gordhan did recently. But I want to explain the legacy that he leaves on the ground. Um, as black people, there is four categories in which black people are supposed to be categorized. There's four things which are available for black people to do, or there's four ways in which black people can live their lives in South Africa. This is because of the laws that government has against black people and black business, black economy. This is because of the red tapes that they put against black people. Pravin Gordhan was one major person who contributed in an immense bigger way at SARS, public enterprise, at SAA, overall government functions. Pravin Gordhan was trusted by white people to be able to take care of business. So, uh, first, black people are allowed to live as lower class citizens. I mean, the ones who are the people, when this category is for the people who are in the, some not even on Nyaupe, but some of them on Nyaupe on drugs. Some of them, those who are just hand to mouth buying food for the day, eating for the day, going to sell in the taxi rank or on the road just to get the food for the day. That is the first category of people which is who are allowed to live in South Africa. Uh, those ones who does not have formal employment, those ones who are regarded as the uneducated, the first category, the ones that the system suck from, or the system keeps maintains the poverty of the majority using those people. The category of people who are in deep poverty, living from hand to mouth. This is the majority in South Africa. The majority of young people are in that category of people who are living from hand to mouth. So this is the category which gives birth to the construction mafia. This is the category which gives birth to the protection fee mafia. This category is the one that created the tender mafia, the lower category of citizens. This is the legacy that Pravin Gordhan is living in South Africa. The second category of people in which the second category in which black people are allowed to live in South Africa because of the laws drafted by Pravin Gordhan into the state institutions in for the economy, because he was Minister of Finance, he was at SARS as a commissioner, he was at SARS, he was Minister of he's done a lot of role in government. Minister of Enterprise. He's done a lot of roles in government. So he has assisted government in drafting a lot of economic policies. So the economic policies of the ANC, which are basically against black people have been drafted by mainly Pravin Gordhan. Let us remember that the colonial masters uh, have got representatives in every country. The people who are saving their masters, uh, these people are among us and they are part of us. Pravin Gordhan is one of the people who is saving who are serving the white agent. So the second category of the people are those who are employed. Uh, those who are employed, there's two category of people. On those who are employed, there are those who fall on the first category of people, those ones who are in poverty, who are not, who've got no means to do anything. The first category of people have got no means to do anything. They live hand to mouth. Some of them they give themselves to drugs. Some of them they end up crazy people. Some of them end up criminals. That category that produces a lot of hell for citizens or for communities. That is the category which is in majority in South Africa. The second category is the educated people, the ones who are transitioning from, there are those who are transitioning from the lower class. I mean, those who went to school and get qualifications, but they don't have employment. They are exactly the same as the people who are in the first category. They basically live the same life as the people in the first category who are the lower class, who are the ones who feel that the system is against them, and who are the ones who are brave enough to take guns and take from the second category. The second category of people is the middle class people. The middle class people are those who call themselves educated, those who are closer to whiteness, those that basically the cash cows of the system, those who attend the Black Friday thing, the middle class, the educated, the teachers, the doctors, and all those people. These are the people who feel closer to white people. This is the category, these are the categories in which black people are allowed to live through the laws that Pravin Gordhan have drafted in government. Um, so in South Africa, you are allowed to live as a poverty-stricken individual, as a lower class individual, who is fighting against the system because you are paying the VAT every day when you go and buy for your bread there. From hand to mouth, you buy your bread. So you pay the VAT, which is an existence fee. So what I call the existence fee, you pay the VAT to feed the white man. The laws of the country are such that whenever procurement is done, the big monies goes to the bigger companies, which are white companies. So it means the VAT that, or the tax that black people are paying end up in white companies. It will end up in the pockets of white people, because those are the people that government appoints to do their projects. So the second category of people is the middle class people. These are the people who think they are better than the lower class people, and that the lower class people they do this because they are stupid and they are not They don't have the determination to stand on their feet. So that is the reason why the lower class is suffering. The middle class is thinking like that. And this is the category which is in trouble because it's being milked by the system and also stand being victim of the lower class people. The lower class people, when they are hungry, they go and take from the people on the middle class and also on the higher class. So it's either you are a poverty stricken person or smoking nyaupe and all those things, you will be allowed to live in South Africa, or you are a middle class person who think they are clever because they are educated. uh, you will be allowed to live in South Africa, or a politician who is a slave trader who goes around gathering slaves and go and sell the numbers to the white men that I have got such number of black people that are under my control. If you pay me, then I'll be able to protect you. The slave trader is a protection, ask for protection fee from the white man. The protection fee that keeps Africa in poverty, that keeps all black people in suffering, that creates the protection fee, because this is how they operate. So the politician, I call them slave traders. The politicians or the slave traders, they go around gathering slaves, telling them that we are fighting against the white men, and goes to the white men and tell the white men, I've got 500,000 black slaves that are under my control. I can protect you against them rising for their land and rising for their economy or for their mines. I'll give you the protection. That's what they normally ask for. And the white monopoly capital will just give that protection, will just give them the funding to go and campaign around, uh, and get more slaves to bring in the control of white people. So the slave trader or the politician determines who the people can rise against and who the people cannot rise against. It determines when to rise against people, and it determines when not to rise against a system. So the slave trader is respected by the slave because the slave thinks that the slave trader represents him. This is the system that was created by Pravin Gordhan, who played a big role in the drafting of the constitution and in the drafting of the government policies, uh, which uh, allows black people to only become first abject poverty, to be in abject poverty, and be condemned to drugs at some instances, or to be a middle class, which is a very limited number as well, to be a middle class closer to whiteness, the one who are protecting whiteness, black people who protect whiteness, those who feel closer to white people, or those who feel closer to the colonial education. Uh, they are the middle class people. Those are the ones that the system is actually surviving upon. Is Because these are the people that you must first uh, eliminate in order to get to the master, because these are the people who protect the master at all times in any given place, in any argument. They make sure they protect the master without reason. These are the middle class people. The third category in which South Africans are allowed to live is um, uh, when you become a criminal. There's a speech which was given by P.W. Botha in 1985, where he said people who commit crimes in black areas should not be given serious crime in black areas should not be punished. It must be encouraged. Laws must be put in place and policies must be put in place to encourage violence in black areas. The laws have been put in place. Pravin Gordhan was one of the people who was monitoring that the laws have been put in place to create havoc in black areas. The video that I was sharing here about the Umtata mafia, Umtata is not isolated in this issue. The mafia exists in every village, in every place. The mafia exists, the protection fee exists. The people who are in government or the people who are governing now are the people who've got the stronger guns. Because of the policies that people like Pravin Gordhan have advocated for. Pravin Gordhan has sold SAA for only 51 rand. The people's assets, selling it for 51 rands to your friends. I hope that the family of Pravin Gordhan will find it in their heart to understand how South Africans are feeling about the death of Pravin Gordhan, his legacy as I speak. The construction mafia created by the SARS laws and policies of government that allows tenders only to be given to the people who've got uh, guns. At the moment, government is led by people with guns. People who've got construction companies, usually they also own security companies. They own security companies. The taxi bosses, they own security companies. And the reason they own security companies is so that they can be able to have the guns during the day and walk around with the guns legally without being bothered. But the security companies are not operating as legal, they are not only doing legal things, they also do dirty jobs of the politicians. The monies that get collected from the people, from the poor people in those areas, are shared among the politicians, are shared among the police, and also are shared among the traditional leaders. But the cause of all of this is people who have come to maintain the colonial rule in South Africa. People like Pravin Gordhan. This is the legacy that they leave in South Africa. If we have to tell what the legacy that Pravin Gordhan is living in South Africa is the legacy of crime, the legacy of joblessness, the legacy of hopelessness in black people, the legacy of landlessness in black people, the legacy of prostitution in black women, the legacy of alcoholism in black children. That's what uh, people like Pravin are leaving uh, to the black people. He must be remembered for what he is. He played his role as an agent in the apartheid. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mngoni Mkhonto. This is the Royal Opinion. Let me go through the comment. Thank you for joining. Everybody who is here, click the like button and subscribe. I've been talking. Today we're discussing Pravin Gordhan, legacy. These are the issues that President Zuma wants to fix. Pravin Gordhan's legacy is what President Zuma wants to destroy, is what he seeks to destroy. Let me acknowledge the people who are with us here in the comments. Queen Precious Malachi, Africa in the Basket, Queen Cynthia Malope, thank you, Morning Kings and Queens, Mdeni Buthelezi, saying his mandate was to collapse SA and he achieved that. He has his own special corner in hell. May he have his special corner in hell. May he go and burn in the hell which they said black people are going to burn. Black people are already in hell in the planet, in South Africa. The laws that they've created against black people, it's terrible. So in South Africa, you are allowed to live. Let me repeat: in South Africa, you are allowed to live first as a poverty-stricken individual. Secondly, as a middle class person. Thirdly, as a slave trader. The higher category of all, it's criminal. If you are a criminal, if you've got guns, you are allowed to live in South Africa um, according to the system. If you can be able to kill black people and eliminate some people and you have power, then you can command the system to give you your share. So black people are allowed to live in these four categories. Black people are not allowed to own businesses. If you want to see that black people are not allowed to own businesses, go and start a business. You will understand the hassle that you're going to go through if you are running a serious business. If you run a serious business, South Africa will not support such business because black people are generally not allowed. It's just that they don't say it in our eyes, or they don't tell it in our eyes that we are not allowed to run businesses. If you want to live your life outside any of these categories that I have listed, you are not allowed as a black person. If you want to gain something from the system which Pravin Gordhan and his colleagues have created. His legacy. If you want to survive in the system and be seen to be a better person, you have to cooperate with the system, either become a hand-to-mouth individual or become a middle-class individual. What is coming in South Africa is that more of his legacy is going to happen, because these are the rules that have been created in order to um, create a war zone kind of lifestyle for black people all over the continent. Most black people are living in war zones. The police are not meant to protect people. The army is not meant to protect people. Where have you ever seen army doing anything for the people of South Africa? Let's say a South African army. Where have you ever seen South African army doing anything for black people in South Africa? The army will only come out to protect white people from black people. The army has been set up to protect uh, uh, the system from being attacked by the citizens who are being oppressed by the colonial rule that we are under in now. The coup that has been uh, lodged and implemented by Ramaphosa and his crew. This is the condition in which South Africa find itself. We find ourselves in township villages that are controlled by the mafias, because the government promotes that whoever has got the strongest gun is will be given the opportunity. I was actually, please turn on the super thanks button. It's off again. What? Every day, like every time I have to turn it on. Let me try and turn it on, Cynthia. I'll take a moment. Let me continue to share this video and turn the super thanks button on, so that those who want to support the channel can support. My name is Mngoni Mkhonto, and this is the Royal Opinion. If you are first in the channel, if it's your first time in the channel, uh, click the like button. Queen Precious says the super thanks button is now on. Is on. Thank you. Thank you. Cynthia is the super thanks button is on, and everybody else who is on the. Let me continue to share this video about the mafia in Mthatha, so that we can see the actual legacy of Mr. Pravin Gordhan.
Just over 600 million rand every single year. And what does this mean for the community? It means that businesses are closing their doors, leaving 1,000+ people so far jobless in this year alone. For instance, 2 Cecil petrol stations have closed down here in Mthatha due to these protection fee demands. Now, think about the impact of that. 50,000 residents live in fear here. knowing that they could be next, their business could be next. And it's not just the small businesses, even larger enterprises, the backbone of Umtata's economy. These businesses aren't immune. How can a town thrive when its lifeblood is being drained by fear and extortion? With that said, I want to introduce you into something. Let me explain to you why I believe that what is happening here in Umtata is a mafia enterprise. Firstly, let's look at the difference between organized crime and petty crime. Petty crime is a type of crime that is not considered to be more serious when it's compared with other crimes. Petty crimes such as things like shoplifting. In fact, I like to categorize this type of crime as disorganized crime. It can happen at any point in any time and can't be policed. However, organized crime is a category of transnational and even localized groupings of centralized enterprises that run themselves in illegal means for profit. What started out with petty criminals harassing street vendors, then foreign-run spaza shops, and moving on to foreign-owned hardware stores, has now upgraded to all types of trade businesses being extorted. B&Bs, petrol stations, doctors' offices, taverns, street vendors, apartment blocks, konke. And it's honestly so disheartening. You can feel it in the air that there is a lower morale with everybody. I mean, for instance, I was trying to book a B&B, and the lady who runs the business had taken her sign down, which made us think that the business was closed. We rang the bell, she opened, she said, I'm still operating, but I've taken down my sign because I don't want any of this protection fee trouble. Umama Umdala, just running a 3-bedroom B&B with her flats at the back. This is the reality that is now existing in this place. Actually, even on a side note, Mtata and the Transkei has an unusually high rate of foreign-owned hardware stores. More even so than other parts of the Eastern Cape. I don't know why. But if you do, maybe you can let us know in the comments. So how does this Mtata mafia operate? Well, they use petty criminals for a lot of the scouting and collating of information about how many businesses can be potential targets. In fact, one of these scout cars is an unmarked black V-Class that doesn't have number plates. And if you know who drives it, you just know around these parts. This is important to understand because even though these protection fees seem to be widespread and across various business sectors, they will not touch businesses protected by 1, 2, or 3 of the biggest security companies right here in Mtata. Strange, right? They will also not touch certain nightlife businesses. The taxi industry is also seemingly untouched and exempt from any of these extortion fees. Maybe because they have their own guns and they operate on the fringes of the law themselves. I don't know. Maybe you can tell us. For instance, there is a well-known taxi turf here in Mtata between Ncedo Taxi Association and the Border Alliance Taxi Association. And it's happening in this municipal district. It's been for a long time. Just Google this. This war goes back 10 plus years. And every couple of months to a year, violence breaks out here and people, unfortunately, get killed. Just Google it. I promise you. As recently as January of 2024, violence was rife right here in Mtata. Now, Mtata and Durban taxi routes are very linked because of how in demand that route is. And I'm sure we all know who runs the taxis in Durban. We do, right? They're also involved here in Mtata in a very big way. By the way, while I'm recording this video, I still think that's gunfire. Okay, back to how this racket happens. You have petty criminals, taxi men with guns, local security companies, CIT heist kingpins, and the new entrants, business forums, all wanting to somehow make a living out of just normal people and ultimately using crime. Then you add drugs. Remember in November of 2021, when 243 million rands worth of cocaine was stolen?
This is the legacy of Pravin Gordhan. This is the legacy that Pravin Gordhan has left in South Africa, has left black people in South Africa in. This is his legacy. This is his contribution to the South African laws. The white people can celebrate him because Pravin Gordhan, I can give him the status of Nelson Mandela. The way he protected whiteness, we can give him that is, he is the second Mandela. Uh, Ramaphosa, the third and the biggest Mandela, is Ramaphosa. Pravin Gordhan, the second Mandela. The people who protected whiteness and who should be praised by whiteness without doubt or without any surprise. We know that they have to I mean the mainstream media will have to report um, the propaganda that the contribution of Pravin Gordhan is positive in South Africa, while they know for the majority of South African, his contribution is destruction, is hell. He left the construction mafia in place due to his exclusion, his laws of excluding black people into government tenders. The BEE system that they came up with. They say they prioritize women in business, but you will not find any women in business in government. In government tenders, there are no women who are getting tenders there. But they say they prioritize women according to their policies. So Pravin Gordhan is one of the snakes who created the situation that we see today in Umtata and across South Africa. The situation in Umtata is not unique. It's the same everywhere. There are security companies who are operating as mafias. The taxi industry is now the ones who are running government. The taxi industry are the ones who are running the ANC at the moment. So these are very powerful people. Uh, Now, uh, it depends on who's got the powerful gun. Uh, who's gonna survive depends on who's got a powerful gun in South Africa. He created a dog eat dog situation in South Africa. His legacy is dog eat dog in South Africa. We can say Pravin's legacy is dog eat dog in South Africa. His laws, his policies have never benefited black people and will not benefit black people. May his soul rest in eternal peace. May he rest and continue with his life peacefully. It's all that we can say because black people were very good people. We don't wish even our enemies bad things. We wish them well because that's who we are. We are well wishers. We are good people. So Pravin Gordhan, though his legacy in on our lives and the lives of many black people is terrifying, is something that should be destroyed. President Zuma seek to destroy his legacy. Uh, Pravin Gordhan was one of the people who refused the expropriation of land without compensation, who refused the expropriation of land without compensation in the ANC. Uh, Pravin Gordhan is contributed into turning the ANC policy to be a neoliberal policy. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining the live stream. Thank you very much for all those who contributed on the live stream. May his family find it in their hearts again. How we feel about his passing. We can't be mourning at this moment. We should be mourning the people whom Pravin Gordhan has contributed into poverty, the lives of the people that Pravin Gordhan has contributed into alcoholism, the life that Pravin Gordhan has contributed into abject poverty in South Africa. Uh, the people that he has turned into mafias, we should be crying about those lives. The people who died as victims of his policies, the laws that he advocated into government, is the people that we should be mourning at this time during his passing. Let him go on with his life. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.